I'm a 21-year-old male, and this occurred last summer during a family vacation to Emerald Cove. We were lodged in a beachside resort on the 13th or 14th floor, residing in a kind of vacation ownership property. One restless night, struggling to find sleep, I decided to step out onto the balcony for some fresh air. It was around 3 a.m., and to my amazement, the full moon cast its glow on the water, creating a breathtaking scene. The beach was entirely deserted as far as my eyes could reach, a sight I had never witnessed before. Since sleep eluded me, I thought of heading down for a stroll along the beach, listening to music, with the hope that I'd return ready to catch some rest. I admit it was unsafe and unwise, but with everyone else in my family asleep, I chose to go down without informing anyone, planning to be back in 10 to 15 minutes. At the base of our vacation property, there was a zone featuring a pool, an outdoor lounge, and 2 boardwalks separated by about 100 feet, both leading to the beach. On the sides of the boardwalks, tall grass separated the ocean from the resort. When I reached the base, the entire area was deserted, and I began walking down the right boardwalk towards the beach. Suddenly, I noticed someone approaching from the beach, which was odd because I had a clear view of the area from the balcony just before and had seen no one. As this figure got closer, I started feeling uneasy. It was a man, possibly in his late 30s, wearing a backpack and glasses with large, square lenses. The boardwalk was dimly lit by lights from the outdoor lounge, giving me a clear look at him. He seemed on edge, as if searching for someone in the area, and his clothing appeared somewhat worn. We made eye contact. I nodded, and we passed each other. I was creeped out, as he had a somewhat unsettling appearance, maybe akin to Jeffrey Dahmer, and he didn't seem like a typical vacationer. Shaking off the unease, I continued down to the beach, plugging in my headphones. As I reached the beach, I turned right and strolled parallel to the water, taking in the scenery. Opting to walk along the shoreline, I moved closer to the water. Barefoot, I hadn't been walking for more than a minute when an odd feeling crept over me. Removing my headphones and turning around, I noticed a dark figure trailing me just up the shore, situated between me and the vacation property. I instantly recognized the man from the boardwalk due to his height, body type, and alert demeanor. Panic set in as every let's not meet story rushed to my mind. Simultaneously, I tried to rationalize, reminding myself it could be a coincidence, and he simply decided to take a beach walk in the same direction as me. Taking a few deep breaths, I turned my gaze back to the ocean and continued walking, hoping it was just an eerie coincidence. After a couple of seconds, I turned my head back and noticed that he is much closer to me, not walking parallel but heading directly towards me. I increase my walking speed and glance back, seeing that he matches my pace and continues walking towards me and the water. Still, for some reason, I try to convince myself that maybe he also wants to walk by the water, and there's no way I'm actually being followed by a suspicious man on a deserted beach. To truly test it, I do a 180 and completely change directions. As I turn my head, I see him do the same and continue closing in, now power walking. It suddenly hits me that I am in a really bad situation. I take off in a run along the water, and he starts running as well, staying upshore of me, preventing me from heading towards the boardwalk. Panicking, I keep running with no plan, thinking that, being 20 and somewhat fit, I should be able to outrun him along the water and find another exit off the beach, either to call my family or return to the vacation property via the road. However, he keeps pace with me, and this ordeal feels like it goes on for 10 to 15 minutes. The scariest part, which I hadn't considered, is that it's completely silent. All I hear is my breath and feet on the sand, and when I turn, I only see his shadowy figure keeping pace with me. Suddenly, I spot a small blue light and what looks like 4 people on the beach with a blanket, a bit upshore. Desperate, I sprint towards them, hoping to quickly explain the situation so we can confront him together. As I approach, my heart drops. There are 4 guys on a blanket, surrounded by empty and half-empty handles of hard liquor. 3 of them are completely passed out, and the last is half sat up, clearly intoxicated, talking to himself with a party hat on that has blue lights. He doesn't even register me approaching. I turn and see the figure has slowed down and is observing me. Then he realizes the group's state and starts sprinting at me. As he gets closer, the half-passed out guy's blue light reveals it's the same man as before. He looks wide-eyed, almost manic, and is charging at me full sprint. I decide I have to do something decisive. Worried I had underestimated his fitness, and having exhausted myself sprinting towards the group, I fear he might catch up if we continued running along the beach indefinitely. So instead of turning around and running, I sprint towards him and to the right, catching him off balance. I run past him, full sprinting back to the vacation property without looking back. All the hairs on my neck stand, and it feels like a dream where someone is almost catching you. The adrenaline is overwhelming as I keep running and finally see the vacation property. I turn around to check his distance, and he's about 400 to 500 feet away, having lost a lot of ground. Without wasting any time, I sprint up the boardwalk toward the base of the vacation property. I jam the elevator buttons, leap in, and start mashing the close door button, gasping for air. The door closes, and I hit the button for my floor. When the elevator reaches, I sprint back to my room, open the door, enter, and slam it shut, double locking it. Breathing heavily, I drop to the floor, not believing what just happened. I crouch and crawl to my room, fearing he might see me through the balcony window and enter my room. Let's just say I definitely wasn't able to sleep after that. To the guy who chased me on the beach, let's not meet again.